Welcome to Finding Certainty with your host and U.S. Army veteran, Patrick Laing. Over the next hour, you'll learn from Patrick and his expert guests how to attract more certainty into your business and your life. Now, here is your host, Patrick Laing.
Welcome back, everyone, to our next episode of Finding Certainty. I'm your host, Patrick Laing. I'm pleased to have you join with us on this, our second session, with my special guest today, Miss Victoria Foster. If you're listening in with us today, and if you're looking for more certainty in your own life or business, you've come to the right place. So, Victoria, I'm looking forward to our conversation. Thanks for being with me today.
Honored to be included in your guest list. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So if you're joining us for the first time, we appreciate you taking the time to do so. It's a special treat to have Victoria on the show with us today because she's one of the most talented and authentic people I've ever met. I get to work with her every day at our profit consulting firm, Consulting Management, Certainty Management. And it's a privilege indeed. As we get into the episode, you're going to see why I say this. You're also going to understand what makes us really a good team. Both the two of us as the senior partners in the firm, but also the two of us as an extension of our nationwide team of affiliates. We're only as good as the team we've built. So I'd like to start out just by highlighting two or three of the reasons why I've asked Victoria to be with us today. I like to do that on each of the shows so you understand why they're here and why, of all the different options out there, I asked her to be here. So in the first place, Victoria is really my right arm here at Certainty Management. I might be the face of the company, but I'm the founder and the CEO, but she is the neck, or perhaps maybe better, the heart of the company. She's the main person who keeps us moving in the right direction, in my opinion. We have a left arm named Jill McCauley that you'll probably meet on another episode. But it's really Victoria who keeps me in check. She balances me and holds me accountable. In many respects, we're very different from each other, but we also complement each other really well. And we're going to be talking today about some of the differences, what we can learn from them. It's an important insight, one that many businesses can learn from, in my opinion. Secondly, you're going to hear today about how and why Victoria switched over from a 25-year career in corporate America to work with our private consulting firm. You're going to hear about her experience and her expertise. You'll understand fully why we're so grateful she's here. And really, her story is also an interesting commentary on why many Americans are doing the same thing. They're moving to smaller companies or even going into business for themselves. We're going to talk about this and share a few insights into who we are, what we do here at Certainty Management, and call it our backstory, I guess you could say. But either way, it's going to be fun. So, Victoria, tell us a little bit about yourself. How do you introduce Victoria Foster to someone when you first meet?
Well, as you mentioned, so I am the Director of Sales for Certainty Management. I've been with the company for almost a year and a half now. We're going on 16 months. And as you mentioned, you remain the visionary and the founder. You're the captain of our ship, and I'm more like your first mate, and I kind of take care of the operations behind the scenes.
Yeah, if I'm holding the compass here at Certainty Management, Victoria is definitely the helmsman. She's the one with the hands on the ship's wheel, steering the rudder.
And the anchor sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes the anchor. I'm the one who goes 100 miles an hour, and she's the one who constantly says, slow down, slow down. So tell us a little bit about yourself, just personally, family, siblings, things like that. I mean, where are you from? Where do you call home?
I was born and raised and remain in the Pacific Northwest. Go Ducks, go Beavs. We're a divided household for Civil War, so I've got a shout out to both. I've been working since I was 15 years old. Started like many others flipping burgers, and didn't take long for me to realize that there was a different destiny for me. So just shy of attending Hamburger University, I joined the traditional corporate world and kind of never looked back. I've got a big family. I'm blessed to have them all still around me. We see each other often. I've got both my parents, and they've been married over 50 years. And then last but certainly not least is I've got a couple of kids who are the center of my universe.
Yeah, I've met your boys. They're fantastic. You're doing a great job. So what gets you up in the morning? What has you most excited these days?
Other than my kids, they seem to get me up a lot in the mornings. Um, really, it's, what exciting news or a call am I going to get today? I'm so excited about our team and our vendors and the impact that we're making. What company is our team going to help today, or whose life will our team change today?
Right.
Last week we got, as you know, we got approval for $126,000 employee retention credit for one of our nonprofits. And then this week we got, it was like $282,000, another employee retention credit for another one of our clients who was a property management company. The momentum that Certainty has built in just the last 6 months alone is amazing. The pace at which we're building alliances with our vendor partners who share our vision. The list goes on. I mean, there's so many things that get me up.
Yeah, it's very exciting seeing how quickly things happen and use the word momentum. I mean, I think it's a good description.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually asking Victoria to be on this show with me because while I enjoy speaking, I enjoy promoting and speaking from the stage and so forth and so on. She would much rather be behind the scenes, as she said, just steering that ship and keeping things moving along. We're a lot like a couple of friends of ours. We have some colleagues that work with Cabin Creek Ventures, Tom Kiesling and Kathy Erber. He's the outspoken one, the front man, the sales guy, animated, outspoken, and so forth. Kathy is the behind the scenes genius that's keeping the firm on track. And Victoria and I are very much the same. I think we understand those two. We resonate because we're very similar. But thank you, my friend. I do appreciate you being here. So
sure. Before the show started, he asked me how I was doing, and I said I've moved past hyperventilating, and now I'm on to passing out every once in a while. Just it's more peaceful.
Get a little sleep, right?
Yeah, it's a lot more peaceful.
Which you probably need, right? So anyway, one of the things I really appreciate about Victoria, as I was saying, is that she balances me, and she's good at things that I'm not good at. She's left-brained where I'm right-brained. It's kind of a yin and a yang type thing, you could say, or like two fraternal twins who have totally different personalities, but we finish each other's sentences. And kind of hard to explain, but it's been a real blessing in my life and in our company. That's why I wanted you to meet Victoria here as our second episode. You met Frank Hellring last week. We wanted to pay tribute to him since he was largely responsible for helping us start this show. But Victoria is largely responsible, has been very instrumental in bringing certainty to where we are today. And I'm truly grateful. So she has a ton of experience that we're going to be sharing with you. We're going to talk a little bit about the company, as I said, and help you understand the dynamic that is certainty management. So I guess you could say this is our backstory, as I said. In all of our other episodes, we're going to be interviewing others and their companies. This was one opportunity, just getting the new channel started to help tell you a little bit about us. So I want you to share with us a little of your story, if you may, where you came from, how you landed at Certainty Management. But first, let me preface it with a little background that I think will help. See, I used to work as a VP of sales for a company named Nuquo Group. And they're a cost reduction consultant working specifically in the imaging technology space. These are your printers, your copiers, and your scanners. Now, that sounds about as exciting as watching paint dry, but it is a massive industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry with few, if any, checks or balances. It's an unregulated industry. And as a result, most customers we know are paying significantly more than they have to. It's not uncommon for us to come in and literally cut a contract in half. We save our customers 30 to 60% on average. What's neat about that business is there's zero upfront, zero out-of-pocket expense. The customer doesn't have to switch vendors we're able to help save them so much because we know what to look for, what to change. We know who to go to and how to ask for what we want. And now, after almost 10 years working together with Nuquo, we have clients in all 50 states. We have a very large footprint, and we have the collective buying power of all of our customers, some of which are public companies, universities. I mean, the list goes on. So about 4 years ago, I decided to leave the employee position and move to San Diego. My wife and I wanted to move to Southern California. She needed to have some medical care down there. The sunshine would be good for her. And we decided to become an independent affiliate of Nuquo instead of an employee. That's when I started as an independent consultant. We were in San Diego for 3 years and then relocated the company here to Las Vegas, Nevada earlier this year. No state income tax, closer to family, etc. So it was during all of this that I was introduced to Victoria, and we immediately hit it off. We had one product line. This is all we did. And she was an expert in that field, which she'll tell you a little bit about. But we're very happy she's with us. We're going to talk about how the company has evolved since then. But
if I may, Patrick,
yeah, go ahead.
I kind of want to go back to a point that you made about the savings that Nuquo can achieve for their clients.
Yeah.
We're not talking small numbers here. To give some examples, we saved $223,000 for a very well-known auto group. We had an electric contractor who we were able to save them a little over $414,000. And then a credit union in Alaska, of all places, we were able to save them $2.9 million. And these are net numbers. This is direct to the bottom line.
That's exactly right. That's after our fee. Typically with these kind of contracts, customer keeps 70%, we keep 30%. It's divided between us and our implementation partner, Nuquo. But really important to understand that we're paid out of the savings. So as I was saying, there's no upfront cost, no out-of-pocket cost. Literally, the customer has no expense and no risk. There's no out-of-pocket expense and zero risk. They already have the contract. We're just helping them improve it. So
yeah, and you don't even have to switch vendors or service levels to get that savings.
I know. It kind of blew my mind when I heard about it.
I mean, I spent my entire career, 25 years, asking for a check or a purchase order. And today I get to put money back in people's pockets. And more importantly, with our cost recovery services, we only expect to get paid when we produce results. And so it's truly a win-win-win situation.
Right.
Unlike any I've experienced.
Every other vendor in the industry is seeking to sell something at as high a margin as possible.
That's right.
And we're the only ones who are trying to put money back in the customer's pocket. Certainly nobody else that we know of is doing it the way we're doing it. And we can talk more about that. But it's actually a pretty good transition. As I was saying, do you mind sharing why you decided to leave your employer? I mean, you worked for one of the largest companies in America, one of the global leaders in that industry.
Yeah. And
move to our much smaller consulting firm. I think it's a really valuable piece in this whole story.
Go 10,000 employees down to a handful, right? The infrastructure. Yeah. I am grateful for having had the opportunity to work for two global leaders, actually, for sure. And I had a successful career at both, and I was able to advance and move forward and be groomed for many different roles at all different levels. I met some really great people who now, of course, are friends. I really enjoyed learning the technology and helping others learn and leverage it. You get really used to the income and the benefits. And, it's also that comfortable shoe. So I'm going to stay here. and that there's the challenge is that when you're just a staff member in a large organization like those were, you can't really affect any change. You have limits on the customer experience that you can provide. And so eventually I found myself at odds with what was being taught and what was actually expected and what was given to the clients. And there's a sales poster that I'm sure anyone in sales has seen, and they've also heard this mantra that says always be closing, ABCs of sales. And I literally scratched out and changed mine to ABH and put always be helping. I had another poster that read, be assured if you help enough people get what they want out of life, you'll eventually get what you want out of life. And yeah, I mean, I was there to make a living, but really, for me, at my core, I wanted to make a difference, obviously. And I'm of the belief that if the situation that you are in or you find yourself in is not feeding your heart and your soul, it's your responsibility to do something to make the change, no one else's.
Right.
You don't want it to affect you. You want to affect it. And so I was looking for something different, and a good friend introduced me to you, or introduced your company, and I guess the rest is history.
Right. It was density, as they say in Back to the Future, right?
Yes, density.
We feel like that. No, it's funny. My friend Mark Barrick, who started NewQuo Group together with a couple of friends, they're our partner, or our implementation partner. We're an authorized affiliate of theirs. He used to tell me all the time in that industry that every seminar he went to was about how to get more money out of the customer. And that's why they started NewQuo. There was no one out there representing the customer's best interests, right? Today, they sit on the customer side of the desk as industry insiders, helping them navigate this complex world of business equipment contracts. They really serve as an advocate of those customers, looking out for their best interests. And so that's actually where their name comes from. And you think it sounds like a new quote, but they were establishing a new status quo. So we're coming up on our break here, but tell us real quick in just 30 seconds, a little bit about that industry real quick. And I think we're going to head to break.
Okay. Well, as you well know, Patrick, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Still an unregulated industry. There's no checks or balances, arbitrary pricing. It's kind of a good old boys club. It's not, what you know, it's more who you know. More recently, there's not a lot of loyalty either from the clients or the vendors. And, they're sales organizations. Like you mentioned, it's their goal to sell you their product or service at the highest margin possible. And all of these combined create this real need for a company like NewQuo that companies can rely on to pull back the green curtain and expose the wizard behind, with all its tricks.
That's right. I know it was a challenge for you to find a new home with everything you were looking for. I mean, you had a lifetime of skill sets, especially as you were considering new industries.
Right.
I think we'll go to break and then come back and address what that experience was, because it was stressful, right? It was challenging.
Yeah, very much so.
It was a big leap for you. You were thinking you were going to have to leave everything you learned behind and set out on something new.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the case. I think for many people who are fearing or nervous about that, it's not as big a leap as they think it is, because you really do take a lot with you. But let's come back after the break and we'll jump into that a little bit more, and then we'll transition to where it's brought us to today.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Certainty Management can help create more certainty in your life with our deep discount health insurance options, even for 1099s, part-time employees, volunteers, and more. Pay less to protect yourself, your loved ones, and your team. Call 888-684-3122 for a free quote today. That's 888-684-3122. Visit us on the web at CertaintyTeam.com. That's Certainty, TEAM, like Mary.com.
If you're a nonprofit in need of funding, we can help. Certainty Management is a cost reduction firm that also helps churches, schools, sports teams, and other nonprofits raise unlimited zero-cost funding. Best of all, you don't have to sell anything or ask for donations. Call 888-684-3122 to learn more today. That's 888-684-3122. Visit us on the web at CertaintyTeam.com. That's Certainty, TEAM, like Mary.com.
Voice America Business Network, the bottom line in business.
You're listening to Finding Certainty with Patrick Laing. Have a question for Patrick or his guests? Join us on the show at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now, back to the show with Patrick.
And we're back. We're speaking with Victoria Foster, Senior Partner and Director of Sales North America with Certainty Management, about why she left a very nice 6-digit-a-year job in corporate America to switch over to a startup that was really just getting rolling in many respects. You might have a collective 100 years of experience, but as a new company, especially starting in the pandemic, that was a big leap for her. So Victoria, I know when you were looking to find a new home, leaving corporate America, something that could offer you everything you were looking for. I mean, it was a bit of a stressful transition. I mean, how do you use a lifetime of skill sets, especially if you're considering new industries, right?
Right. Well, I was definitely standing at a fork in the road for sure. On one hand, as I determined that moving to a different company within the same industry wouldn't really offer me any changes I was looking for, I had to come to terms with the fact that it was really disappointing that all of my wealth of knowledge that I'd accumulated over those 25 past years would just dissolve. Like, its experience can't be transferred to another person. And
Right.
And on the other hand, I was thinking I was going to, have to learn a whole new list of skill sets for wherever I was headed. And that's daunting at my age, without giving anything away there. So, it had to be something that I was interested in to achieve some sort of momentum so it wouldn't fizzle out. I have to go back to the industry, and there was also a lot of money to be made in that industry.
Right. Isn't that one of the reasons why it's so hard for people to get out? I mean, how do they replace that income? Because it's very lucrative.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, there's many people wanting to change, but doing so is easier said than done. And so, it's actually one of the reasons I eventually started Certainty Management. I was in the same position where I'd been in sales for 30 plus years. I'd made companies millions of dollars. And yet I spent a lot of time trying to find that perfect employer. I've had some great employers, but some not so great. And there was always something lacking. They either weren't generous, or they didn't have the right principles, they weren't very organized. I mean, there's always something that, and I think it's natural, but there was always something that left it lacking.
Mm-hmm.
Many people wanting to go into business feel overwhelmed by that. They're wanting to get out of that job, that just over broke, right, position, but they have the same fears and they're facing the same hurdles. The good news is, this is to my point earlier, is I think you take with you everything you've learned. Your sales skills, your people skills, your communication skills. I mean, what you've learned in technology, even learning how to use Excel or something. We've talked about that. You didn't have to relearn any of that. Even if you're learning a new technology or a new industry, I think, honestly, that's the easy part. It's the other that takes years to acquire, right? You don't just learn sales overnight. You don't develop people skills in an instant. So
Right.
I think you actually had the 90% already, and the 10% was the new product line or the new business. So anyone who's listening and considering that, you keep that in mind. Every company has training. You can learn the ropes, but the part you have is what's truly valuable. So I know for a fact you actually had multiple job offers. There's a company's been trying to headhunt you for years, and you turned them all down to come work for us or with us. But can you go into that story just a little bit more?
Sure. As I stood at that fork in the road I was talking about, I had to kind of identify the change that I was looking for. And I was, I'm an improvement person at heart. I love helping or serving others. And so finding something purposeful was important to me. I really, did want to still be able to apply my 25 years experience if I could. Right. It was, I'm in a time in my life where I needed security for sure, and in for my future, I needed certainty, right? That's why I was immediately intrigued when I learned what Certainty was doing. And, it was only a few minutes into our conversation where I realized that our core values were aligned. I was beyond thrilled to find that there was a place that I did belong, as if the culmination of all of my previous experiences was prepping me for this opportunity with you.
Right. I felt the same way. I mean, basically, we couldn't find the company we wanted to work for, so we went out and created it. We paid the lion's share of our earnings to the field. We are trying to give back and have some social impact through our work. We try to be honest in everything we do and transparent. I mean, the list goes on, right? So, as we get into, let's start talking a little bit about what we do actually, because our Certainty Partners program, which is our fundraising program, is a good example of this combination of business and social good, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But that's actually a whole nother episode that we can definitely spend some time on. So we won't go into it too much today, but it is kind of the cherry on top of the pinnacle of this skyscraper that we're building. But I want to jump into the actual different product lines. We refer to what we call our services as the Magnificent Seven. Actually, 7 different focuses or certain primary services that we offer our customers. So, tell us a little bit about that, just about the company, what Certainty Management does, and how you fit into it, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, we do have multiple benefits. We were recently discussing amongst the team that our vision is really to create profit with a purpose. We lower costs for businesses and consumers. We increase profits for businesses, thereby empowering them, which in turn strengthens our communities. And this is ultimately going to lead to more jobs, more businesses succeeding, stronger nonprofits, et cetera. Are you referring to so the Magnificent Seven? Did you want me to just go straight there, or do you want me to still talk about, because if you visit our website, you're going to see 3 words listed at the bottom of the homepage: profit, protection, and purpose. And these words really encapsulate our mission. Before we go into specifics, I mean, do you want to share how we've evolved as a company?
Yeah, I think
a little bit first.
Yeah, I think it's important.
We talked about my transition, but the company's transition is just as important.
Absolutely. As we started out, as I said, we focused on this one area. We represented New Quo Group. We had no competition. We were representing the clients in this unregulated space, this imaging technology space. And for a long time, we kind of wore it as a badge of honor that we do one thing and we do it really well. And yet, many times customers would ask us, well, you helped me here. You just saved me $200,000 on my printer and copier contract. What else can you do? Can you help me with my insurance? Can you help me with my utilities and so forth? And for a long time, we just said, no, there's other firms that do that. Eventually, we came to the point that we said, why are we doing this? There's a lot of ways we could better serve our clients. These could be additional revenue streams. I think more than anything, we just wanted to provide more value to our customers. And so we started to explore new relationships. We did our due diligence. We vetted companies. We've since added other cost reduction partnerships where we can help with multiple areas in the business. We've added an extraordinary small business benefits plan that we can talk about, but we even have wholesale travel and a number of other things. But as Victoria said, it's all about profit with purpose. We want to make sure that we're strengthening and empowering our clients, but we're also giving back. And that's where our Certainty Partners program comes in that I mentioned. So,
and we do, I mean, you're right. We have our portfolio of services is it's broad. You call it the Magnificent Seven. When you engage with us, you're going to see that our offerings help. There's 2 ways that we can help with your past. There's 2 ways that we can help with your present. there's 2 ways you can help with their future. And in addition to that, we're giving back to these nonprofits. So that's 7. That's where you got your movie analogy, right?
Yeah, it's not really something we advertise necessarily, but internally, that's how we talk about it. And they do fall into these categories. Let's talk about this past cost recovery, because that's it's one of the biggest areas we can help customers. The size of the savings and the tax recovery and some of these things are pretty extraordinary. So talk about that if you can for just a minute.
Well, we do have the 3-year tax audit, which is, looking into your taxes from previous years that you filed. And many times we can find omissions or things that we can add to it.
Right. And it's not only the taxes. We look at all of your expenses over the last 3 years. It's really a business expense audit. It includes tax, it includes insurances and things like that. And there can be significant savings in dollars you've already spent.
I think you wanted to give a shout out at this time. Did you not?
To Mr. Ben O'Quigley.
Yes, please.
I hear you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the employee retention tax credit first, because that's a big part of this, right? That we do the 3-year business expense audit. The employee retention tax credit is getting a lot of press these days. There's a lot of firms out there doing it. But our partnership in this space, I think, is really unique. What Ben O'Quigley does, he's the owner of ERC, of the ERC tree. It's kind of like Lending Tree, but for the employee retention credit. If you'd like to learn more about this, text the name Certainty, the word Certainty, to 26786, and we can get you some information about it. But basically, you submit your information, and then we can explore a number of different options to find the best fit for you. Obviously, the whole objective with the employee retention credit is to help you recover as much as we can. These are your payroll taxes and some other expenses during 2019, 2020. It's part of the COVID CARES Act. Right. So if you're a small business with 200 to 500 employees, you should be absolutely applying for the ERC. If you've already applied and were turned down, reach out to us, text that number, Certainty, to 26786. Let us see if we can get you approved, because the guidelines have changed. And with this approach, with this multi-tier approach, we can typically get a person or a company approved, even those that were turned down, even companies that went out of business, right, and apply and get those funds. So shout out to Ben and his team, but let us know if you'd like more information on that.
So those are 2 of the Magnificent 7 from the past. As I mentioned, we also have a couple different ways to help with the present. One of the biggest being our deep discount healthcare benefits. Right. Here's a startling statistic for you, Patrick. Over 50 million Americans are either underinsured or totally uninsured. And it's not that they don't want coverage, obviously, they just can't afford it. And that is unacceptable. And that ends now, right? We have a healthcare solution with options as little as $30 per month. Our most expensive Advantage program that covers your entire immediate family is just $100 a month. Right.
We looked at why do people want insurance? Well, they want to be able to take their child to the doctor when they have a fever. If they need stitches, they want to be able to go and do that. If they break a leg or something, or just going in and getting their labs done and getting an annual exam, making sure that nothing serious is happening. Now, there's a difference between true insurance and a wellness or a healthcare plan like these. But what we offer at Certainty Management is what we refer to as a continuum of care. We want to make sure that you're able to call a doctor, go see a doctor, get in when you need to. We have plans, as Victoria said, for as little as $30 a month. You can have unlimited teledoc appointments, medical, dental, vision, 85% off your prescriptions, in addition to x-rays and other things for $30 for you, your significant other, and your children up to 26 years old. One of the things we've seen as we've surveyed clients across the country is that one of the number one things they're looking for is mental health coverage. We have the same thing. We have an Advantage program that's $30 a month, unlimited mental health appointments with a psychiatrist or a counselor, literally with zero deductible. You don't have any deductibles with either of these programs. If you do have to go to an urgent care, if you do want to go in and see a doctor, that's about $80 a month, about $100 a month, but you can go in and have a $10 copay. Go to urgent care, it's a $25 copay. So what we're talking about here is coverage that is actually affordable. As Victoria said, most people, they're not insured. It's not because they don't want it. Many times their employer even offers insurance. They just can't afford it. We have an option that can help. So we got to keep moving along. But again, if you have any questions on this, if you're interested in hearing more about it, just text that name, Certainty, CERTAINTY, to 26786, and we'll get you some information.
Patrick, can you cover some of the insurance details before I move on to our next present?
Yeah. It's important to understand that the average income in America is $3,600. You may be making more than that, but that's the average. And the average health policy is about $420. I mean, it's $1,200 for a family. I mean, you understand why people aren't taking part in it. Literally, only 4% of employees, if they have to pay for their insurance, are taking the insurance policies and plans available to them. We don't have time to go into each of the programs in much more detail, but this is one of the ways we're protecting our clients, improving profitability for our customers. This helps with retention. It helps with recruiting. It is absolutely extraordinary and is truly affordable. So
yeah. See here, another way that we can help with our clients right now, the present, is through our security division, Patrick. So right. We partnered with an extraordinary company, Emergent 3, also known as E3. I know you have a future episode dedicated to this, Patrick, so we're not going to go into detail right now, but if you listeners want to help your kids to be safer in schools, which is an important topic right now, keep your eyes peeled for Patrick's episode on Emergent 3. Or you can, if you can't make that episode, you can always, again, text the word certainty to 26786 and we'll get you that information.
Right. So we've talked about the past. We talked about the present. The past is the recovery of business expenses and taxes. The present is helping protect our clients with these low-cost, deep discount benefits. We have our security division to help protect schools. It's not just schools. It's also city offices. It's really any organization that wants to be prepared in the case of any emergency, crisis, or threat. The ways that we help in the future come down to our cost reduction. We can analyze a company's business expenses. We can even analyze your personal bills. You want to pay less on your cell phone bill or your utilities, your internet, your insurance. We can literally help you in these ways with zero out-of-pocket cost. In most cases, we just split the savings with you. You pay nothing up front. We do the work, and if we can help you save, we split it with you. In some cases, you even get a larger percentage, like with our print copy work. We typically pay 70% of it to the customer. And so we're coming up on our next break, but we'll come back and we'll continue the conversation because I want to circle back around not only how we've evolved as a company, how you've evolved as a business leader, as an executive, even as a partner now with Certainty Management. But I want to drill down a little bit more on the differences between us, because this is a really important topic when it comes to business, comes to nonprofits, because we're all different, right? And we've got to learn how to work together. We're doing a pretty good job at it, and I think there's some things we can learn about it. So I think it's a good time for us to take another break now. Having a great chat with Victoria Foster of Certainty Management. We've been talking about all the ways her company can put money back in your pockets, whether you're a for-profit or a nonprofit. And when we come back, we'll continue the conversation about these differences that I'm referring to. Are there more than just a necessary hurdle in business. They may actually be one of your greatest strengths. So don't go away. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Thanks, Victoria. I appreciate you being here.
Follow us on Twitter at VoiceAmericaTRN. Get the lowdown on guests, new shows, and your favorites. That's VoiceAmericaTRN.
If you're a nonprofit in need of funding, we can help. Certainty Management is a cost reduction firm that also helps churches, schools, sports teams, and other nonprofits raise unlimited zero-cost funding. Best of all, you don't have to sell anything or ask for donations. Call 888-684-3122 to learn more today. That's 888-684-3122. Visit us on the web at CertaintyTeam.com. That's Certainty, T-E-A-M, like Mary.com.
Certainty Management can help create more certainty in your life with our deep discount health insurance options, even for 1099s, part-time employees, volunteers, and more. Pay less to protect yourself, your loved ones, and your team. Call 888-684-3122 for a free quote today. That's 888-684-3122. Visit us on the web at CertaintyTeam.com. That's Certainty, T-E-A-M, like Mary.com.
When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network.
You are listening to Finding Certainty with Patrick Laing. Have a question for Patrick or his guests? Join us on the show at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now, back to the show with Patrick.
And we're back. In our previous segment, we were speaking with our guest today, Victoria Foster, about her transition from corporate America to Main Street USA when she left her multi-billion-dollar global employer, come join the ranks of Certainty Management. Victoria very quickly moved into a management role here. She eventually became a partner in the firm, and we're very blessed to have her. And we were talking a little bit about Certainty Management, what we do with our cost reduction efforts, both for businesses and for individuals, much of which has been spearheaded by Victoria as our Director of Sales North America. So Victoria, go ahead and continue that conversation if you can.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we went back to cover the fact that, whether it's the business side of it, the cost recovery, or the personal bill cost recovery, it's really important they understand that you don't even have to switch providers to get those savings.
Right.
And imagine this, Patrick, someone personally cutting their own phone bill or utility bill or a combination by about $60 a month. That's literally, and out of pocket to them, right? It's all savings. And then suddenly they have the funds to completely cover the family with medical, dental, vision, mental health coverage, and prescription drug discounts. They're huge discounts, like 80%.
Right.
I mean, if you're looking for a great employee retention recruiting package, and you're an employer, you can offer all three of our Advantage programs, which is primary care, urgent care, chronic illness coverage, for less than $100 a month.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. When we made the relationship with this provider, we were introduced them by a longtime friend of mine that I've known for over 20 years. Used to be an employee of mine. We went on to become very good friends. A man named Jeff Lindikoff with Redfin Real Estate, but we were blown away by it because so many people are looking at it. You talk about 50 million Americans being uninsured or underinsured.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, 4 million people, over 4 million people resigned or left their jobs just in December of this last year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a massive number. And what's the number one thing that they're looking for as they look at new employment or looking for starting their own business?
Benefits. I mean, this is a candidate market, and you better have good benefits to get their attention or to keep the attention. Yeah.
And so what happens is many times employers are offering a benefit package. It's just not affordable. And so being able to offer something that gives them something, we always say something is better than nothing, right? It may not be the top of the line, full blown critical care insurance. We do offer that as well. We have insurance options good in all 50 states, 40 to 50% less expensive than anyone else. And yet the primary interest we're getting is in these low-cost advantage programs. So anyway, let's jump into talking a little bit about differences before we run out of time here. So I spoke on our last episode with Frank Hellring about these two pillars that we focus on here at Finding Certainty. The first is business empowerment and being willing to, open to thinking outside the box, to evolving, right? Every company has to evolve if they want to stay in business. We've had to do that here. Every company does. Every nonprofit does. The other side of it, though, is working together despite our differences, right? If we want to get where we want to go, we need to link arms. We need to not just look past our differences, but actually embrace them. We're kind of a perfect example of that, right? We've talked a little bit about this, but you were willing to change and evolve and consider new opportunities, transition away from big to small business. And you ended up with this crazy guy who's practically your polar opposite, right? Why do you think we work so well together, though, honestly, when we're so different?
Well, opposites attract, or at least they balance the scale. Right. If you think about it, you see that in any good relationship, whether it's business, marriage,
sports teams, right?
Yeah.
Sports team has linebackers and the quarterback. This goes on.
Yeah. If we or any partnership was exactly the same, we'd be missing out on some level. And it goes back to my motto that there's nothing like an agnostic third party to cure tunnel vision, right? There's a ton of value in multiple perspectives, even in opposing opinions sometimes, or different personalities make for a much more dynamic experience. And opposing skill sets could make for a great match on a court, right? On a tennis court. Right. Different leadership styles are necessary to within the same organizations today. But along with that, though, you and I have lots of commonalities too. I mean, we have similar vision for the company, and we have the same desires for our team and our clients. Right.
There have to be certain principles that you agree on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have different views on things, different experience, different insights, and that's where the beauty and the strength comes from, that diversity, right? But you have to be on the same page about specific things. I mean, like integrity and the type of service you want to provide and so forth. So we got to work together. Frank Hellring on our show last week, host of Business Buzz, talked about the value of relationships. And what's important to remember is that it's not just with our friends. It's not just with our own community. We have to branch out and cross-connect with other communities, other people, other styles, right? Other personalities, other backgrounds, other demographics, I mean, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. I like your comment about how you could find common ground with literally everyone.
Well, I could. I think it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. Part of my family I grew up in. I've got a sister adopted from Korea, a brother adopted from Samoa. I mean, my sister's married to a phenomenal Black guy named David Perry. I mean, our family picture looks like the colors of Benetton, right? But I say this all the time. I don't care where you vote. I don't care where you go to church. I don't care about your background. I care about it, but it's not something I worry about. We have plenty in common. We all care about small business success. We care about nonprofits thriving. We care about our children staying safe at school and no potholes in the road and so forth. We all have value, and we can learn a lot from each other. We are truly stronger together.
Well, and I see the same thing with you and Tesha, your wonderful wife. You two are very different, but you complement each other. And, I think personally of our differences as complementary competencies. It's easy to say, right? But you understand what I mean? It's
hard to find. But
yeah. And the same goes for you two. I mean, it seems to work really well in your marriage too. So.
Yeah. My wife, Tesha, is the oldest of 10 children. We just celebrated our 10th anniversary, which was cool. But she's most definitely my better half, but we're very different, right? Talk about right brain, left brain. I mean, we're almost polar opposites, and yet we complement each other really well. I wanted to give a shout out to her. It's her birthday coming up this next week. So must feel good to be 29 again.
Yes, Tesha, we really appreciate you lending us Patrick, every time for so many hours each week, right? And happy birthday to you, Tesha. I do want to make a point here, though, Patrick, in speaking of differences, we're talking about the concept of blending differences, not enduring each other's differences. When you blend and build on differences, you benefit most from them.
Right. I think of the analogy of a really beautiful rug or carpet or a tapestry where you're blending these colors together and it comes out as something even better. Mm-hmm. We've heard over the years this 1 + 1 = 3 concept, right? But I actually think of it as 1 + 1 = 11, right? But that only happens when you're side by side, right?
Right.
Those together,
right?
And you really can accomplish some amazing things. I mean, you look at all the best movies, like Remember the Titans and Glory and Best of Enemies. I mean, these extraordinary stories of completely different parties or factions or people coming together and accomplishing something they couldn't even imagine.
Right. And what you're actually talking about, Patrick, there is unity. I mean, it's as important as certainty is. If you think about it, love your neighbor as yourself is a universal principle that was taught by Muhammad, Buddha, Gandhi, right. Jesus, Jesus.
Right. All of them. Right. Mm-hmm. It is. I think of it as an eternal principle. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Who's teaching it, where it is, where it applies. It always applies. And yet, unfortunately, here in America, we've forgotten that to some degree. There's a lot of division. We're focusing too much time and energy on our differences. If we could focus on our similarities, I think we could accomplish amazing things, both in business and both in our own personal lives. And so,
wholeheartedly agree.
As we're nearing the end of our show, I just want to give a shout out to the amazing women in my life. You're one of them, Victoria, but obviously my wife Tesha, my sisters, or my sister Chai, my daughters Madeline and Brighton, and you as my right hand, and Jill McCauley as our left hand. We'll probably have her on as a guest here in the future. I would not be where I am without you, and we as a company we wouldn't be who we are without the extraordinary women involved in what we're doing. Between just us three, we are veteran-owned, female-owned, and disabled-owned, which is an interesting insight, I thought.
Mm-hmm, very.
Yeah. Quick shout out to my son, Anderson. I actually said last week, it was his birthday on our first show last week. I said he was turning 18 years old. I forgot he's actually turning 19 years old.
Dad.
He called me on it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. We actually kept him back a year in kindergarten because, anyway, it was a long time ago. So I always think of him as 18 because he just graduated high school. He's headed to Cal State Bakersfield to be on a diving scholarship. But
excellent.
I forget he's a year older than all his colleagues. So thank you for spending a few minutes with us today. Anyone who's listening, we appreciate you, our listeners, very much. Really enjoyed visiting with you, Victoria, and discussing your story and ours as well. We're almost out of time, but we don't want to stop here completely. Let's continue the conversation. Please visit us on LinkedIn, on Twitter, Facebook. How can our listeners get a hold of us, Victoria?
Well, as you mentioned, all they have to do is simply text the word certainty to 26786. That's CERTAINTY to 26786. And that'll take you to our website when you can schedule an appointment really easily from there.
Right. We appreciate you. Thank you for listening, everybody. The best place to find this show, if you're looking for it, is to go to certaintylive.com. It will get you to the radio channel. And I hope you join us next week. We have a very special guest planned from an extraordinary company, a longtime friend of mine named Don Oberle, and his company, Credit IQ. He's going to teach us how to clean up our credit, get our score into the high 700s, when the best time to buy a car is, a house, and more. He can show you how to file a bankruptcy for a fraction of the cost if you need to. I mean, the list goes on. So even better, Join us on our website, join us on our social media, and let's continue the conversation, as I said. Until then, we wish you more certainty and unity in your life. Go get it. It's out there for the taking.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Have a great week, our friends.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode of Finding Certainty. We hope you've gained some more insight into how to create more certainty in your own business or nonprofit. Join us next week for another taste of the certainty experience. Until then, we wish you greater certainty in all that you do.